What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to open some envelopes that I recently got back. One of the envelopes is actually postmarked from 2019, December of 2019. Actually, like really late December of 2019, like December 28th, 2019. So I'm a little bit behind on opening that one up. However, I just wanted to make sure that I kind of grouped these together in the same sport, so that's why I didn't really do that. So, enough talking, and let's do some envelope opening. Alright, so this first one is former Washington Senator, Texas Ranger great, Tom Grieve on 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Tom Grieve is well known for the being a Texas Ranger as both a player and as a general manager later in his life. So let me tell you a little bit about Tom Grieve. Grieve played from 1970 to 1979 for the Washington Senators, Texas Rangers, also for the Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. He's nicknamed Tag because those are actually his initials, Thomas Allen Grieve. Grieve was drafted by the Washington Senators, so he's one of the few Washington Senators that later became the Texas Rangers that are pretty notable. In the first round with the 6th pick in the 1966 MLB draft. Before signing the summer of '66, he spent some time in the Cape Cod League where he tore it up basically and hit .416 in 25 games. Grieve's best season was 1976 with the Rangers when he hit .255 and hit 20 home runs with 81 RBIs, playing the outfield for the Rangers that season. On December 8th, 1977, after spending almost a decade with the Rangers/Senators organization, he was involved in a rare 4-team trade that involved the New York Mets, the Atlanta Braves, the Pirates, and the Rangers. And again, you hear about three-team trades, but very rarely do you hear about a four-team trade. Grieve and a player to be named later were sent to the Mets, who also received Willie Montanez from the Braves. Texas sent Adrian Devine, Tommy Boggs, and Eddie Miller to Atlanta, and Bert Blyleven to the Pirates. The Pirates sent Al Oliver and Nelson Norman to the Rangers, who also got John Matlack back from the Mets. Finally, the Mets sent John Miller to the Pirates. So, if you just listen to all the names that I just said there were some pretty serious names involved in that deal. I mean, Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven, for example, was traded away from the Braves. Whoops, that was kind of a mistake on the Braves' behalf. The Rangers acquired the services of Al Oliver, who Al Oliver was an excellent player during the 1970s and a very integral part of the 1970s Pirates outfield. Also, John Matlack was a great pitcher as well, for the New York Mets prior to getting traded to the Rangers. So I was aware that Al Oliver and Matlack were Rangers. I just didn't know how they became Texas Rangers, so now I do. Primarily used as a designated hitter and outfielder, the right-handed batter finished .249 with 65 home runs in 670 games for his career. After retiring as a player at the end of the 1979 season, Grieve joined the Rangers front office and did his first work as a color commentator for the Rangers television broadcast during the 1980 season. In 1984, Grieve became the general manager of the Rangers and served in that capacity until 1994. And this would have been probably when the Bush family owned the franchise. I'm just going to throw that out there. Since he stepped away from being the general manager, he has gotten back into the broadcasting realm and does some split duties with other announcers during Texas Ranger games still to this day. I also know that he is still an ambassador for the Texas Rangers. He commonly shows up at fan events, signing autographs and things of that sort. I have never actually had an opportunity to meet him in person, but I knew that he signed through the mail, so that's why I got a few in the mail to him. The next thing I want to mention before we move on is Tom Grieve is actually the father of Ben Grieve, and I'll show a picture of Ben right here. Ben Grieve was the former Rookie of the Year, if you recall, a few years back, and they are actually, according to his Wikipedia page, the first father-son combo to be selected in the first round of the MLB draft. So I know that they're the first, but most recently I know that Bobby Witt Sr. and Bobby Witt Jr. also match that designation. So moving on to the next one. Thank you very much, Mr. Grieve. Right, this next one is postmarked from Kansas, and it is former journeyman reliever Dave LaRoche on 1. Two for a senior league, and I've been really sending these senior league cards out lately. 3, another senior league card, and a really nice 1983 Topps Super Vet card, which I really like these cards. They're really neat because they show the player, when they're young, then they show them at the end of their career when they're veterans. And I want to say this was about his last season when he pitched with the Yankees. Maybe he hung around another year after that, I'm not sure. But very cool. Let me tell you a little bit about Dave LaRoche. All right, Dave LaRoche, he is the father of the 2 LaRoches that played recently, Andrew LaRoche and Adam LaRoche. Adam LaRoche, was a very successful first baseman in the majors, and his brother Andy also played some time in the majors. But they were both position players, where Dave LaRoche was a left-handed reliever. So Dave LaRoche was born in Colorado. However, he relocated to California, where he played his high school baseball. He was drafted in 1966 out of his high school. However, he did not sign, and he was drafted the following year in 1967. According to his baseball reference page, he also played some time at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Obviously, he didn't play a very long time there because he was drafted back-to-back years and signed as a pro. He spent some time in the minor leagues. He was, primarily a reliever from the get-go with the California Angels system. He only appeared, started 5 games or 6 games in the minor leagues, but he was so effective that his ERA was so stellar as a left-handed reliever that at 22 years old in 1970, he was called up to the majors to make his major league debut with the California Angels. Well, he had a superb season as a lefty specialist, going 4-1 with a 3.44 ERA as a rookie. He would find that success again in 1971 with the Angels, where he went 5-1 with a 2.5 ERA. Well, after the 71 season, the California Angels decided to trade him to the Minnesota Twins. He only spent 1 season with the Twins before he was again traded to the Chicago Cubs, which is what that card is. He had a couple good seasons with the Cubs until 1975, where he was traded to the Cleveland Indians. I don't have a card of him as an Indian, but he found his best success, I guess you would say on paper, with the Cleveland Indians, because in 1976 and 1977, he actually went to the All-Star game. Well, he split time with Cleveland in 1977 and the California Angels, the team that originally drafted him, and he was traded back to California, where he would spend the 1977, 78, 79, and 80 season, all with pretty decent numbers for the Angels. And after the 1980 season, he was let go by the Angels in spring of 1981. Well, he wasn't unemployed long, as he signed with the Yankees as a free agent in 1981. He spent a couple more seasons with the Yankees. His first year in New York, he went 4-1 with a 2.49 ERA. He spent some time in the minor leagues the following year. I'm guessing maybe there were some arm issues or something along those lines. And 1983, he spent almost the entire season in the minor leagues and only appeared in one game in 1983 for the Yankees. At the age of 35, Dave LaRoche retired from baseball. After his time with the Yankees, as you can tell, he played a couple seasons, I believe, in the senior league, and then went on to focus on raising his children as Major League Baseball players. He obviously developed his sons into Major League level players. There's actually a third son that played minor league baseball. However, he never made it to the majors, and his name was Jeff LaRoche. Well, Mr. LaRoche also hung around a couple more years as a minor league instructor. He most recently was a pitching coach for the Miami Marlins organization. I am not positive if he's still with the Marlins or not. I sent these care of his home address in the off season, so I'm not really sure what he does during the baseball season. So I would guess that either he has retired now from baseball or he is working in some capacity in baseball. So thank you, Mr. LaRoche. Really appreciate you signing for me. All right, this next one is the 2019 one, and this is postmarked. Can't even read it. Never mind, I don't know where it's postmarked from, but let me open it up. And it is former Boston Red Sox great Bill Lee on one. Also, Montreal Expo makes two, and he inscribed that one Earth 2019. And I also got a Senior League card. Again, like I said, I've been sending out the Senior League cards quite a bit. I just want to share this with you. This is nothing, derogatory towards Mr. Lee or anything like that, because I think he's a great ball player. But he only likes to sign one card per team. So if you're watching my video and you send him multiples of the Expos or the Red Sox or probably even the Senior League, he most likely is going to keep your cards. And he'll write on your envelope, from what I hear, I only sign one per team or, something along those lines. So I made sure when I wrote Mr. Lee that I gave him 3 different options, so to speak, with 3 different teams. Now, the neat thing about this top autograph is it's William Francis Lee, and he actually signed it William Francis Lee like it's depicted on the card. And if you look at the other one, it just says Bill Lee, and he signed it like Bill Lee and added the Earth 2019 inscription. So if you happen to have some of his earlier cards like this 71 Tops, or 70 Tops, sorry if I got that wrong, but if you happen to have that card, he actually will sign it like his contract, William Francis Lee, which I thought was pretty neat. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Bill Lee. I could make this video 35 minutes just talking about Bill Lee. So I'm going to focus more on his baseball career than I am his off-the-field career, I guess you would call it. However, what I will do, and I rarely do this, is I will put his Wikipedia page down here at the bottom of this video. So if you load that Wikipedia page, which is what I'm looking at right now, there are so many stories that you can read about Bill Lee. This guy has had movies made about him. He's appeared in movies. He's got a few songs made about him. I mean, the story of Bill Lee is just one of a kind, would be the best way I could put it. So I'm going to focus more on his on-field things for this video rather than his off-field. All right, Lee was born in Burbank, California, and he was born into a baseball family. His father played semi and professional baseball. William Lee, that would be his grandfather, excuse me, I said father, was an infielder for the Hollywood Stars of the PCL back in the day. Well, in addition to his grandfather, his aunt, Annabelle Lee, was a pitcher in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Bill has been quoted as saying that she was the best athlete in the family. She is who taught me how to pitch. So Lee attended high school in California. He enrolled at USC, majoring in PE, and played for the illustrious Rod Dudo as part of the USC Trojans' 1968 College World Series team. After that, he was drafted in the 1968 draft by the Boston Red Sox. Well, during that time period, Lee served in the United States Army Reserve for 6 years during the Vietnam War. As a college pitcher, Lee spent very little time in the minor leagues and only spent a little bit of the 1968 season and a little bit of the 1969 season before he was called up to the majors as a reliever in 1969 with the Red Sox. Primarily, Lee would spend most of his time in the bullpen with Boston until 1973, when Bill became a starter with the Red Sox and had his best career year, going 17-11 and making his All-Star game appearance with a 2.75 ERA. He would follow up the 73 season in 1974, again winning 17 games, and in 1975 he again would win 17 games. Well, 1976 wasn't as nice to him, as he only appeared in 24 games, starting only 14, which I would assume he had some injury issues, and he only went 5-7 in 1976. Well, 77 and 78 were decent seasons. However, again, he was splitting time between the bullpen and being a starter. Well, after the 78 season, where he went 10-10, 10 wins, 10 losses, the Boston Red Sox decided to trade him to the Montreal Expos. At 32 years old, Bill found himself as the centerpiece of the Montreal Expos pitching staff, and he went 16-10 with a 3.04 ERA for the Montreal Expos. This will be the last time that he had a truly effective season, as in 1980, 81, and 82, he would primarily split time between starting and relieving, and by 1982, he only appeared in 7 games for the Expos at 35 years old. Well, after he was released by the Expos in 1982, he played for semi-professional teams, including the Senior League in Florida. He played in Venezuela, and starting in 1984, moved to Moncton, New Brunswick, where he played first base and pitcher for the Moncton Mets, earning $500 per week. So, in closing, Bill Lee's been in baseball for years. He was, one of the best Boston Red Sox left-handers, for a short period of time. He had some, excellent seasons with the Red Sox, including his All-Star season. But he's, like I said, he's had movies made about him. He's appeared in Ken Burns' baseball documentary. He's a very knowledgeable man, but he has the nickname Spaceman for a reason. He has viewpoints that are, what I have to say, unique compared to other people's viewpoints. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this. I want to thank Mr. Grieve for signing for me. And I also want to thank Mr. LaRoche for signing for me. I had not gotten any of these guys' autographs before, so very happy to add them to my collection. And I look forward to your comments below. Thanks for watching.